What's up, y'all? It's your boy Dabby Daniel up in the building, and I got a very special guest for y'all. He's an entrepreneur, CEO, the greatest producer ever, Mr. Kid Klutch Productions. How you doing, brother?
I'm doing great, Daniel. It's always great to be on this podcast with you.
It's always good to have you on here, brother. So, we got a very special topic today. We're going to talk about the Tyre Nichols case and the protests all across the country. And we're going to talk about a new book from Mr. Kid Klutch cousin. It's called You Need an Income and Not a Job. I'm going to say it again. You need an income, not a job. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Hey, Black Evolution. Let's get on. So, Mr. Kid Klutch, I just want to say, once again, it's a great to have you on here, brother. But let's get into this topic we got on here. We have the video that has just been released this week of the police killing of Tyre Nichols. And as the result, protests have been happening all across the country, and Washington, D.C., and Memphis. I think it was in Seattle and other places. But it's been happening all across the country. So, Mr. Kid Klutch, what are your thoughts on the Tyre Nichols case and the protests that's happening against police brutality? What are your thoughts, brother?
Well, my thoughts on these cases are how they always are. It's sad. It's a sad atrocity that we keep seeing repeating itself. And we was talking about this off the air. I was saying you had to tell me the name of the other guy that you spoke about on last week's episode. You talked about, because initially I was supposed to come on here to talk about his case, but after that, this case came about. So it's so crazy because it's so many people in our community that's getting killed by police brutality to the point that I'm not even remembering the names of people now. It's just so many hashtags, it's so many protests to where I'm getting confused on what's going on. Because I saw the video yesterday of the Tyre Nichols case, and it was disgusting. I had heard about it, but I hadn't really been following the case. I had been busy. So when I saw it, I was like, this is crazy. This is atrocity. The father of Tyre Nichols actually said during an interview last night, he said that Tyre Nichols weighed 150 pounds. That's close to the weight I weigh. And he said it was 1,000 pounds being put on him, kept falling on him, beating him down with all those officers. And the part I find crazy too is that these officers were black. And one thing I saw when I was watching the coverage of this, is Joy Reid brought this up. She said, do these officers not know, if they had not been in uniform, that this could be them?
I think
they stopped by a cop. And she said, it's like, it's crazy how the police culture is so toxic, and how it's been built to where you have people of the same race doing that to their own people, and they have no problem doing it. But if this happened to their family member, their kid, or even them, they'll be raising hell about it. So I'm like, it's crazy that now we have to deal with the part that our own had done this. And another thing I want to point out too with that is, had it not been our own, if this was these were 5 white officers, they likely wouldn't have been arrested or charged. They likely wouldn't have been charged or fired. They'd still be on the force, on leave. So I want to point that out and make sure people pay attention to that. The reason why they got held accountable is because even though they were in that badge, their blackness can't override that badge. They're still black. They just black with a badge.
Yep, I want to say this also, that them 5 officers who beat up and brutalized and killed Tyre Nichols, I want to say this about y'all. Y'all a bunch of Uncle Tom bootlicking coons. Y'all selling out. You sold out your community by doing that. Beating up on a helpless, defenseless black man. What's wrong with y'all? I'm glad you're charged, and I hope you go to jail. No possibility of parole, and no, you not getting out. Hope you lose your job. Hope you when you get out, you hope you can't get out, and also even if you do get out, you're not even going to be able to get a job, because a lot of times these officers, they go to another state and get hired, and oh yeah, you good with us. It's crazy. So them 5 officers, a bunch of coon Uncle Tom sellouts, doing that mess. I want to say this about the Tyre Nichols case. When I saw that video, it disturbed me. That was disturbing to watch. But I felt like I had to watch it because I needed to talk about it, and talk about it with such passion as I always do. Because this is ridiculous. It needs to stop. These officers need to be held accountable. They need to be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. And we have to go after who was in charge. And it turns out, Mr. Kid Klutch, they have a black woman as a police chief. So she's in charge of this mess. So my question to her is, you know the police department better than anyone. You're the police chief. If you saw signs of this and these disturbing conduct, why didn't you get rid of them? Or better yet, when you hired these officers, because there's a process of hiring police officers, they have to go through a background check. If you knew something about it about their past and you did some digging, why did you still hire them on? Come on now. You have to get to the root of the issue, the root. And I felt also it's not even really about race. It's also about police culture. This is a culture of police where it's thoroughly entrenched in everywhere, where even if you have a black officer, that don't mean nothing because it's the police culture. These officers have been trained to brutalize and murder black people. That's what they're trained to do. They're trained to detain, arrest, and brutalize people. Because it's not really about the racism. It's all about the statism. Because when it comes to the state, these police officers are just tools of the state. Tools of people in power. Tools of people in high positions. And they just use them whenever they see fit to have them go against the masses. So that's what I say about the Tyre Nichols case and what's going on. And to all the protesters, I say this: keep on protesting, keep on doing what you need to do, but also you become organized into a unit, and become more disciplined and stuff. Don't just protest and go home. The job never stops when the cameras are off. I just want to say that. But Mr. Kid Klutch, yeah, go ahead, Mr. Kid Klutch.
First of all, when I couldn't watch the full video because I would have been sick to my stomach watching it. And then also too, the police chief you mentioned has only been police chief for like a year or so, because she was previously the police chief of Durham Police Department. In my opinion, she wasn't good at that either, as a police chief. But I just wanted to add that too, because you said she hired those officers. No, she didn't hire them. They were likely there before she got there. But also too, with the culture of police, and I want to add something on that, is that we got a lot of police culture is really what we need to go after. Is that it's a culture of white supremacy. It's a culture of fascism. And it's a culture that lacks morals. And I think that's what we really need to go after. I've said this on previous episodes, I'm gonna say it again. If you have a problem with police and the way the systems is going, you can blame your favorite celebrities that are multi-millionaires, billionaires, favorite athletes, that have the means to change, because they're at fault to a certain extent, because they can change a lot of their stuff. They have more avenues to change these systems than they even know. But the problem is a lot of them are not educated on how these systems work and how who they're financed by and how you can finance them to change these systems. And what goes on in police culture, I want to tell a personal story to where a police officer, he told me at the barbershop, this is a black police officer, me, him, and the barber, we was talking about different things that were going on in policing, and he said, it's the culture. Same thing we said. And he said, where people be saying there's a lot of good cops out here, he said, there are a lot of good cops, they're right about that. But he said, also another thing people need to point out is there are a lot of bad cops out here. He said, the way he sees it is 50-50. Because he said he's worked with a lot of good cops and he's worked with a lot of bad cops. But he said, he told me about how their system works. He said, when they go into when they have an incident like that, you cannot interview them, the police officers involved, for 72 hours. He said that 72 hours is for them to get their story straight. He said, because that's policing policy. To get their story straight, and then they have to write the statement. But he said also, too, that's on the individual police officer, because he said when he was a police officer and they had incidents like that, he said, I asked him what he would do. He said, hell no, he wouldn't write. If it wasn't right, he wasn't going to write the statement to go along with the police officers, because he said he didn't uphold the police officer's oath. He uphold it for the people. So also, too, I was watching on Joy Reid's show yesterday. She asked two cops that was on it, former cops. She asked them, what do you think about the policing? And she said, the way I see it, it looks like there's two systems of policing. There's policing for rich, white, wealthy people, and there's systems for everybody else. There's either, poor, white, black, Latinos, Asians. They police them a different way. And she said, the difference is that the wealthy whites, you come to their aid and you serve them and do what they want. But for the rest of us, that you're there to control us and make sure we don't destroy property. More like a slave patrol.
Yep, and also I want to point this out. Brother. The first police officers were slave patrols, brother. So you got to remember that. It's ingrained into them. It is literally police culture, brother.
Yeah, so what I'm saying with that is, too, it's ingrained in police culture. And she asked them that. And another guest she had on there, too, is a Black Lives Matter activist, asked one of the guys, because he kept saying we need more training for police officers. And she said, how much training do we need? She's saying this is not a training issue. It's a moral and personality issue. And that's, I think I said this on another episode on this podcast, is that it's really what needs to happen now. Police officers need to do personality tests to even qualify for a job as a police officer. Because that's what we're starting to see, is really the personality aligned with the police culture. And there needs to be a huge culture shift. Because the reason why these officers felt so comfortable doing that to their own is because they figured, well, I won't be held accountable for that. And you know that police officers have qualified immunity. So 9 times out of 10, when they do something like that, they're found not guilty in the case, or they're not even charged. And also, too, what qualified immunity does, it allows police officers to avoid being sued personally for their pension. So every time a police department is sued, who do you think is paying that? The taxpayers. So you're paying the state to fund your own killing. And that's really what police culture is for black, brown people, is that the state is funding us we're funding the state to kill us, and we're funding the state to enforce the law on us. And the cop, he made a mistake and said that when Joy asked him, do you think there's a system of control? And he said, yeah, that's, they had told him to get control. And he said, they had an unwritten rule in the police force that if the person runs from you and you get angry, you can beat them down for running. And I was like, wow. So police, they basically telling what's going on. It's two systems of policing.
Yep. And not only is it two systems, brother, but it's two Americas, brother.
Yeah.
We gotta be conscious. We gotta be conscious.
Also, too, I said this before, police brutality is legal. So until you change that part, I'm sorry to say, it's not a damn thing is gonna change.
Yeah, until we change the structure of policing. That's when it's gonna change, because it's the culture of policing and it's the structure. The way the entire police is structured needs to be changed. I said before in last week's episode, there needs to be a revolution of values within the police department. They have to start valuing people and not valuing themselves in their high position. And just because they think they have a badge, they feel like they can do whatever the hell they want to do. So we have to change that culture. We have to change the system of policing and how it damages and brutalizes people. Because let's not forget, there's also white folks being killed by the police. This is what I said earlier. It's not about the racism. It's about the statism. These people, officers, feel like they can do whatever the heck they want to against any community. And they feel like they can do whatever they want and get away with it.
And that cop, he told me that too. He said he never seen the officers on his force brutalize any black people, because he said a lot of people work with, they scared of black people. So he said a lot of them, he knew a lot of these kids growing up because his brother was a teacher. His brother taught a lot of the students, and he said when they got in trouble, he said the other cops were scared to stop them, so he stopped them and he just let them go because he knew a lot of them. And he said that he thanked God that he was on the force because he prevented a lot of bad stuff from happening with that. But he said another thing, he said he never seen them beat up black kids, but he said he seen them do it to a lot of white kids. And I was shocked to hear that, but I was hearing that a lot from different people that, yeah, they brutalize white people too, but not at higher rates than they do black people. Like, we're more than likely to be brutalized than our white counterparts.
Yep. So, Mr. Kid Klutch, what are your final thoughts on this Tyre Nichols case and what needs to be done with this entire situation, brother? How can we stop these killings of police brutality?
Well, number one, you got to continue to protest, and number two, start holding your prominent black business people, your prominent black celebrities, your black politicians, well, your politicians in general accountable, but hold your black prominent business people and celebrities accountable, because you need them to fund politicians that are going to change this, and you need them to fund communities to change this structure of systematic racism. And also, too, you need to we need to urge Congress and protest and hold them accountable and make sure they pass this law. So Joe Biden and them can sign the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act into law. Because, like I said before, they signed the executive order, but the executive order doesn't do much to address the things from a federal level. So we got to make sure that police brutality, especially make sure that the law has qualified immunity in there to end qualified immunity on the state, local, and federal level to stop police brutality. And that's all I had to say. Is just I urge you to get Congress involved to pass this law, and also we need to put pressure on the president, because a lot of this stuff is going on, because even though he signed an executive order for that, police brutality hasn't been something he spoke about since his first year in office. So we need to make sure that he's putting that conversation back on the table, and also that he's urging Congress to pass the law so he can sign it and make it a law.
I agree with
That's
you
my
on.
final thought on that situation.
Yep, and I agree with you on that. And my final thoughts on this situation is, hey guys, continue to protest, but don't just stop there. Hold these police chiefs, hold your district attorneys, hold the DAs, your city councilmen. All of them people need to be held accountable because they are part of the problem as well. Because they continue to allow these cases of police brutality in their state. Again, you're the taxpayers. You pay taxes and everything else, and they're supposed to help you. They are your council members. They represent you. So you have to go after them and hold them accountable as well. Don't just protest in the streets and go home. This is not the time for that. This is 2023. We're bringing an end to this police brutality. That's my final thoughts on that topic. So, Mr. Kid Klutch, going into the next topic, you've been trying to have me promote this book for a long time off air. But this book that your cousin came up with called An Income Not a Job, I want to ask you several questions about that book. First off, what is the book about, brother?
Well, the book, You Need an Income, Not a Job, it was written by my cousin, Darryl Bumpass Sr. He's a self-investment speaker, life coach, and of course an author, best-selling author. And the book was put in place to teach people how to create generational wealth. Because in our community, we're often taught in school, go get a job, go to college. And you hear certain parts, they'll say get married, they'll say after you get your degree, go find the best job. But what happens is people are getting lost in the source because they're not being taught about financial literacy. They're not being taught how to create wealth. And I was speaking to a guy the other day that was telling me that too. He was saying how the school systems, the reason why there's so much people in poverty and there's so many, especially in the millennial demographics, because they've been conditioned to do that old traditional 9-to-5 work stop. What my cousin, he calls the rat race. And the thing about working 9 to 5, the whole concept of the book is not telling you not to have a job. It's not telling you not to get a job. But it's telling you, basically what I've been telling people too, is a job is a means to an end. Your job should not be your only source of income. You need to have multiple incomes, especially in today's society, to maintain your household, maintain your lifestyle. But what often happens a lot of time is that people, they're so used to the stability of a 9 to 5 to where they've gotten basically complacent in their spending habits, in their way of thinking, and even their way of living. And what this book teaches you, it teaches you about the banking system. It teaches you how to network. It teaches you to go after your dreams. And it teaches you never to get up. Because chapters in this book, it says, for chapter 1, you got creating multiple streams of income. Chapter 2, you got the go-getter mindset. Chapter 3, building multi-generational wealth. Chapter 4, live in the present, learn from the past. To organize the future. Chapter 5, your net worth is your network. Chapter 6, creating passive income. Chapter 7, the family banking strategy. Chapter 8, the bigger your dreams, the smaller your circle gets. Chapter 9, health is wealth. Chapter 10, go touch your dreams. And what people don't understand with building wealth, it's not going to come overnight. And also, it's a mindset. It's a lifestyle. Because people keep thinking about, well, I'm going to build wealth at my 9 to 5. No, the 9 to 5 is not designed for you to get wealthy. It's designed for you to make your boss wealthier. And that's where people have to learn. This book is teaching you how to invest in yourself. Because think about it, how many people they work at their job. Some of them work 8, 9, 10, 12 hours a week. But what are they receiving from that job? Headache, heartache, health problems, lost time away from their family. And I see some people now, it's like they live to work. Some people, they work all the time. They go nowhere but work. And it's like we have to get out of that mindset of wanting to work. Yes, you need a job to pay your bills, but you need to live a little. You need to invest. You need to educate yourself. And he has a chapter in there that tells about how the billionaires, they didn't build their wealth by just sitting in the cubicle. They didn't build their wealth by funding somebody else's dream. They built their wealth because they came up with an idea and a vision for how we can change society, and how that product or service that they have can keep society going. That's how they got wealthy. But see, in the black community, we have a lot of these skills to do that, but we don't have the knowledge on how to do that. And it's just crazy how people, they keep falling into the trap saying, well, if I get this 9 to 5, this gonna take care of all my problems. No. What else are you doing with your 9 to 5? What you need to do, you need to have passive income. Create passive income. What passive income basically is unearned income that you acquire automatically from minimum labor to earn income on the side. And that income, it divides into 3 different categories. It's active income, passive income, and your portfolio income.
This book seems... Go ahead, brother.
Basically, like you got this podcast right now. This can be a form of passive income. You work a 9 to 5, but also you can make money from that. And then you write books. You can make money from that.
Yep.
And that's what it's telling you with, you want to make money in your sleep. You don't want to be working 12 hours slaving for your boss while your boss is on the beach laying down chilling, or on a yacht, or barking orders at you. And your boss probably made $50 million off you, and you're lucky to make even $50,000 from your company. Tell me, how is that right?
It ain't right at all, brother. So I want to ask you another question. With all the chapters and everything, how does this book compare to other entrepreneurial books such as Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and many others? How does this book, what makes this book different from those other books, brother?
What makes it better, what makes it differently, I'll just say, is that it's telling you how to survive, and it's telling you that the process won't be easy, but you have to do what works for you. In the process, you have to find out what you're good at and make money from that income. He basically turn your passions into an income. And with a lot of those other books, they're telling you how to get rich quick. They're promoting schemes and all that. No, this is telling you how to do things legitimately. It's telling you how to educate yourself, educate your family, and also pull up other people with you. Help them do it. And that's the difference between those, because we see, you and I, we witnessed this with different seminars we went to, where they were promoting a lot of these get rich quick schemes, and all they was doing was taking people's money. But they weren't telling you, they kept saying, well, come back to this next session and we'll teach you this. When they didn't, the fact of the matter, they didn't teach you any of that. This is teaching you all in one book, 10 chapters, how to survive, how to build generational wealth, and how to keep generational wealth. Because what people often see at times is that, I've learned from reading this book, is that my cousin wrote that generational wealth often is lost at the third generation, because the first generation, they spend most of their time building their wealth. The second generation, they likely seen their parent built that wealth, so they're hell bent on keeping that wealth. But when you see the third generation, a lot of times they're blowing it, partying, not doing anything, because they don't know the value of a dollar. They don't know how hard their family had to work to get that money. That's why we often see these billionaires and stuff within the third generation, they start losing their wealth. Or in the we see a lot of them, they live above their means. We see a lot of them, they don't know how to run a business. They don't know how to invest money to keep cash flow going. And a lot of them, they just get lazy and they don't work. They just become like trust fund babies. And I think what has to happen too is once we get that wealth, we have to keep building onto it. And that goes with insurance too. We see a lot of people in our community, they don't have life insurance. They don't have health insurance. People don't understand all that stuff that adds on, because what if somebody dies? And we see all the time, they have to people have to raise money from GoFundMe to pay for funeral expenses, rather than if you die, that stuff is taken care of from your insurance policy, and the rest of that money is passed through your heirs. So meaning your kids or whoever the beneficiary is. It could be your kids, grandkids, wife. And that money can help them get back on their feet if they fall on hard times, or help them invest, or create wealth off of that. Because I remember I was watching the Breakfast Club interview, and Master P actually built his empire from his grandfather dying from a lawsuit. He invested $10,000 and he created No Limit Records, and it's worth $200 million today. And that's the thing with it. People don't understand how these different systems work. A lot of these white people you see, they keep that money in there because they know how to move this money around. They know how to avoid paying taxes. They know how to where to invest. They know how to create different businesses. And it's not because they have more talent than us. It's because they have more knowledge of some of these things. When I'm saying that, I'm talking about the top 1% of them. Because the bottom percent, they don't know either. And that's where people keep thinking, well, I'm going to live off of Social Security. But people don't understand Social Security was never meant for you to live off of. It was something for you to supplement, to put with your retirement, like your 401k, to live off of. Then you may take you may do side work. You know, some people, they may cut grass. Some people may do hair. Some people, they may have done construction, and they may do things to people's houses, like they may I had a cousin, he bricked somebody's house. The house, I forgot what it was made out of before, and he did the whole house over from brick, and he made money off of that. So it's like, it's a lot of different ways we can make money. It's a lot of money out here. But the proper way, what this book is teaching you how to get the money. It's teaching you how to earn the money honestly. And it's teaching you how to do it without being reckless. And it's teaching you how to earn money at a younger age than previous generations. Because some of these steps that in previous generations, they did certain forms of it, and they were smarter with their money. That's how they were able to live comfortably after they retired.
So my last question for this book, brother, is where can I find it? And how much is it, brother? Where can I find it? How much is it, brother?
It's on Amazon, and it is the link out. And we're going to post a link on this website too. The book too. It's on Amazon and it's $29.99 for a paperback. And we got audio forms on audio book and Kindle. And the name of the book is You Need an Income, Not a Job by Darryl Bumpass Sr. And follow him on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. The copies, or you can DM me or DM Dab and Dale if you need the link.
Yep,
we're gonna post it on the Black Evolution's Instagram page, and then we'll post the link under the YouTube channel or the YouTube episode. We'll post the link under it.
Yep, so we'll post the link everywhere. We're gonna post it on our Instagram page, at the Black Evolution page. We'll post it on the episode. We're gonna post it everywhere. Just talk to us, and we'll be able to get you that book.
Yeah.
Click on that link. All you gotta do is click. You may not even have to talk to us. Just click.
And remember too to invest in your success.
Yep.
Because if you don't invest in yourself, nobody else will invest in you.
Yeah, exactly. You heard it from Kid Klutch Productions.
Start building your own. Stop building your boss's empire. Start building your own empire. And that's how I'm gonna leave it on you.
Yep.
Thank you, Dave, for having me on here.
No problem, brother. I just want to say it's always great to have you on here. I want to let the audience know that make sure y'all tune in to the Black Evolution page and everything and YouTube channel. Make sure y'all listen to us, because we about to go dominate. We about to kill it. We have to come back stronger than better than we ever had before. This is the Black Evolution page. This is the Black Evolution podcast, and we dominating. We going strong. Tune in. Hey.